Okay, so today is the day of our big day hike, and we're gonna go and we're going to learn about different places that you can go on a day hike and where we can travel and where we can't. What is a durable surface? We don't know, but we're gonna find out today. So, let's go. So we're at the start of our trail, and whenever you go on a trail, you want to make sure that at your trailhead, which is the start of the trail, you look for any sort of signage that might tell you who can be on the trail, what can be on the trail, and how to use the trail. So right here we have a couple of trail rule signs. This particular one says that pedestrians have the right of way, so if you come upon a motorbike, or not a motorbike, a regular bicycle or a horse or anything like that, pedestrians have the right of way, so they need to get off the trail for you or slow down so that you can pass. We have stay on the trail at all times, which means, don't go off the trail. That is already set for you. Do not bike or hike in wet conditions, which is a big deal. You want to make sure that you are keeping the trails great. This says no unauthorized trail maintenance is prohibited. So that means that, if you want to go off trail and make a new trail, can't do that. This also says no motor vehicles allowed, no scooters, no hoverboards, no crazy things that you want to try on here. No, that's not what it is. It's for bikes, pedestrians, and that's it. This one down here says, please stay on the trails. It's just reiterating, making sure that you understand. Any road trail use can lead to erosion, and it can lead to invasive species growth, which is not a good thing at all. And so this is another one. If you see that there's mud on your heels, then you need to turn around. That means that, it's just too bad. The trail is going to start eroding. So make sure that you're always looking for these when you're setting out, and know what durable surfaces look like. All right, I found another sign. This is one that you might also see, trail closed. This one is saying that the trail is closed right now because they are trying to allow for the woodland environment to build itself back up. So we don't want to be out on a trail that is closed just because that is how environment doesn't grow back. It's been used too much, so it's time for people to allow the environment to do its thing and just make sure that it gets back to what it needs to be before we can get back in and enjoy it again. So I just found another trail closed sign, and it's talking a little bit about the limestone cliffs that we have here at Cherokee Park. Those are a really awesome ecosystem that we have. It talks about all of the really cool animals that we have, the cool vegetation that's all about being around those particular cliffs. And it tells a little bit more about why we need to make sure that we are staying on the trails and making sure that we're not disturbing those animals or that vegetation, because if something dies or if something is taken to a new place, it could be centuries before we get that back in this area. So we always want to stay on the trails.
With all this talk of staying on the trails and durable surfaces, we have to ask, what are durable surfaces?
At different parks, you can find different types of geological structure that make up the actual trail that you're walking on. This particular one has embedded rocks everywhere. This trail utilizes packed dirt to form the trail. Some parks may even have paved pathways or other man-made natural resources, such as mulch or wood shavings or even wood planks. Some parts of trails can utilize natural stonework that you can find in the area. This particular one is on that limestone cliff, so what you see in front of you are some limestones that have been made to be utilized for the trail. Trails can even be cut through areas that have grass. come upon a part of the trail where it crosses a water source. This can be a big problem. If we don't have to cross it, that would be the best solution. But since we do need to cross it here, we want to make sure that we do it in the least impactful way possible. We want to step on specific rocks. We want to make sure that we're not getting our feet into the water if we can. Any microorganism that we introduce into this water can be devastating to this area. Anything that we kill that is in this water can also be super devastating. We want to make sure that we, as stewards of the land, are protecting everything that we see around us. That includes specifically water. Water is the life force of this entire forest. So if we don't have to cross, we won't. But since we have to, because the trail goes that way, we're gonna do it in the best possible way that we can. All right, let's see if I can do it. So now I'm coming upon some down logs. You can tell that there has been some sort of trail maintenance come in and just allow for the down tree to remain where it fell, because that is a huge part of our ecosystem. We want to make sure that anything that is natural stays natural, and leaving the down tree helps with, if you can tell, there are small termite bites all through this particular log. And so we want to make sure that those termites have a place to stay and thrive. So they have just come through and taken the exact trail and cut a piece out so that we can keep going through. And over here, there is a downed limb. I guess that's actually another tree that is over here. It's just smaller, but it is now part of the downed trees in this area. But we keep it, we leave it. We want to make sure that all of our animal friends can use it the way that it's naturally used, and that they can make their homes, and that we aren't impeding on that. So as you come through on the trail, you just want to hop over that tree until it gets a cut through. So I've come upon a mud puddle, and it is on the regular trail. So as you can see, if you look up here, you can tell that people have tried going around it and have actually made another trail up there to get to the regular trail. That is a no-no in terms of leave no trace. What leave no trace wants me to do is go straight through. Now you can tell that some people have gone straight through, and that's awesome. That means that even though we are getting mud on our heels, we're not actually widening the trail any more than it already is. So when you find a mud puddle, you want to go straight through it, not over it, not under it, just straight through, so that you don't widen any trails and leave a trace.
Uh-oh.
So this is an area of the trail where the trail has actually widened. So if you look on the left side, that's where the actual trail is going. And on the right side, there are some different roots and just dirt. And there's no grass, and that's because people have used the right side to either allow for a bicyclist to go over or to pass or something like that. This is kind of a problem. We don't want our trails to widen. We want to make as minimal of an impact in nature as we can. So this is kind of a problem here. So this is an area of the path where we know that it has widened due to erosion. You can tell right here that the roots of the tree have made it so that as people come around this particular bend, people are getting way closer and closer to this tree and to these roots. That means that the soil has started to wash away, and that is a problem. We want to make sure that erosion doesn't happen when we're out on the trail. And here you can see where the true trail is with the packed dirt going forward, and to the right we see less of packed dirt, more of a natural, it has a lot of leaves, it has some sticks and all of that. So you can tell that this has been taken by a lot of people, but is not the true trail, even though they both wind up going to the exact same spot down there. Trails can even go through places that are grass. However, what you see behind me is a pollinator garden. In the summer, these are huge, big, tall grass, big, beautiful wildflowers, that kind of thing. You can actually see back in the background the really high grass that is the remnants of what used to be what it was last summer. Pollinators are a huge part of our ecosystem. They're what make all of our plants grow. They take pieces of what's pollen and take it from one flower to another and makes that grow. So pollinators are something like bees, they are butterflies, they are all of these different types of insects that make sure that we can make our apples, we can make our almonds, we can make anything that has a flower that needs pollinated. So these sort of areas are hugely important to what we're doing, and pollinators are starting to die out. So we really need to make sure that these sort of areas are just pristine for those particular animals. So this may look like a trail going up. However, if you really take a closer look at it, you will see that this is actually where the rainwater has run off from up there on the ridge and flows down the hill. So if we were to use this as a trail, we would add to any erosion that's already happening due to all of the water that has been accumulating here. So we don't want to ever use something that looks like this as a trail.
How'd you do? I'm sure you'll be an experienced Leave No Trace hiker in no time. Now let's go on to camping.
So if you're camping, or if you are just hanging out or trying to get off the trail, what you want to do is you always want to make sure that you are coming off the trail in an area that is the least amount of vegetation that you're going to disturb. Also, you want to find a place for your campsite to be at least 200 feet away from the nearest trail and 200 feet away from the nearest water source. 200 feet again away from the nearest trail, because if you're not an early riser and there's another person coming through the trail, you don't want to be in their eye line. But also, you want to be 200 feet away from the nearest water source, because nocturnal animals, that's where they get their water. You don't want to scare them away from the only place where they know that they're going to find water. So also, you want to make sure that the least amount of impact is going to be made by you yourself. So anytime that you go get water, you want to make sure that you are getting large amounts of it so that you don't have to go back and forth a lot of times. You also want to make sure that you are, at the end of your stay, you are taking a stick and rubbing out any areas, any footprints, anything that you have made to make sure that the area can go back to the way that it usually is. One other thing that you want to make sure you're doing is not staying in established camping areas that it looks like other backpackers have been in, because if we do that, that means that the more people stay there, the more it's just going to look like a regular campsite, and we don't want that in the backcountry. So when you're camping on trail, make sure that you're finding your own places to sleep and that you're covering up that you were there so that other backpackers don't see that same area and think, oh, that's a great place to camp. So now let's take a nap.
And that's all there is to it. Traveling and camping on durable surfaces. That's the end of Principle 2. Now we recommend practicing with the activity sheet that goes along with this video and play durable surfaces hopscotch. Have fun! Next up, Principle 3, dispose of waste properly.